G'day guys. If you've got some offcuts, bit of wood left over some projects, just like this one, don't throw it away. I'll show you what you can do with the project today. Is about a bit of very nice configurable maple and silicone mould with the resin. Yeah, we're going to do a bit of a resin project. I'm thinking a bit of light blue and some white. I don't know. Let's see how we go. Follow me, guys. Now it's been a couple of days letting this cure because I took this out of the pressure pot, and what happens from time to time, there's no rhyme or reason, I get these bubbles come through here. Now in fact, when you're mixing resin, I think what happened here is there was a white tint resin that I poured into the blue to give it a very nice looking, kind of a smoky look. This was obviously not as mixed as well as the other, so the other overnight, well, probably 15 hours or 16 hours time in the pressure pot, the blue set rock hard, but this remained pliable enough for me to put my thumb into it. And I left it out of the pressure pot, which in fact I should have put it back, because all the pressure that was put onto the resin then made these bubbles appear. But no great fault. We can pull this out of the mould now, and once it gets onto the lathe, all these bubbles are going to be turned away. So there it is out of the mould, and you can see the wood here got a nice looking pattern on the bottom here. All of the white sank to the bottom. That's because of the incorrect mixing. I've got a bit of a smoky look in the blue. Probably not as what I normally get, but hey, let's start turning and see how it all comes out. Got the bowl where I really need it. I've got the wall thickness around about 3/8 of an inch. When we're doing epoxy bowls, it's nice to leave the wood here and also the epoxy fairly deep, so it gives the actual colourings. Now I'm going to put some denatured alcohol just to get rid of the dust before I do the first coat of a finish. So you can see here, as the bowl has been rubbed to get rid of this dust, it really comes up a nice treat. So we can see actually the effect of the white and the blue mixing together there. I'm going to use the UV wood sealer. It does work with epoxy, so I'm going to put that on first, because then the epoxy doesn't give us any sorts of problems with bubbles, etc. So it's a Clean Armors Wood 750 that I'm going to put on there first. I'm using a lint-free cloth. You just rub this on and let it settle for about 2 or 3 minutes. Two-minute blast of the UV lamp and Bob's your uncle. And with a barbecue spits spigot on the back of the bowl here for it to be ready for the finish, which is going to be tabletop epoxy and spun around for overnight. Casting epoxy I use is from Resin. There's a part B and part A. 50% of each of the part A and part B is necessary. Don't deviate from those mixing quantities. Don't ask me why. I use these mixing cups that have got US fluid ounces on the side, and get you a fairly accurate mix of both parts. Now apply this fairly liberally to the bowl, covering every last spot with the brush, and make sure there's no gaps. Getting a bit of a close-up now with the tabletop epoxy applied, and it's spinning on the barbecue spit to have that cure overnight. You can see it's come up quite nicely. If it dries without any bubbles, then even better, but that's the aim. So let's give it a bit of a curing time, and we'll see it in the morning. So this is the finished product. We have quite a small bowl. It's 7.5 inches in diameter, 1.75 inches deep, and it's got the maker's badge on the bottom, and the whole bowl is completely encased in tabletop epoxy. Now, I did have a little mishap. I don't know whether you can see that closely at the edge here, but that's going to polish out once the epoxy has completely cured. Keep in mind, this is only a 24-hour curing process. Epoxy doesn't really cure until 30 days. But it does have quite a bit of a hardness about it after, 5 or 6 days. And that's what I'll leave this bowl until I get it nicely polished up. So encasing wood, in this case scrap wood, certainly saves it from the fireplace. But, it comes out quite nice. Colours have been chosen fairly well by yours truly, and it does sell very well. This will sell on Etsy for around $2.75. So even though a small bowl like this, people do buy them, and they're very nice to have on the sideboard, etc. Now, just before I go, I have here a bowl that was done previously for some time, and it's one of these bowls that I didn't encase in the tabletop epoxy. Not only that, but I used some of the straight edge pieces of wood left over, as you can see here in the middle. Get it close up on the camera for you guys. It's actually cracked on this edge, as you can see on my index finger there tracing, and it's cracked all the way through to the rear because the wood dries out since the entire bowl was not encased in tabletop epoxy. I will now redress this and encase it in tabletop epoxy. One of my early stage bowls, I didn't used to do that. I used to sand it down and put it on. So this is going to be redone, sanded back, and I'll put the tabletop epoxy in some later video. I'll show you the result. There you go, guys. There's the project for this week. So back to the bowl. So that's the project for this week. It's finished. Very pleased with that. Thanks for watching. Cheers.